All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. Really hyped to see you here. Put me thumbs up if you can hear me, if you can see me, and if you're feeling good. All right. Well, it's time for another stand up leadership session. It is Wednesday. It is May 13th, 2026, and I'm super grateful to be here with all of you. So, again, if you arrived just now, please do let me know. And I'm hyped to be here. I'm excited to be here, and I'm grateful to be here with you. You know, today is a very good day to talk about decisions. This is definitely one of my favorite topics. It was one of the favorite topics of Bob Proctor, and there's a reason for that because decision making definitely um, enhances your life. It literally controls almost every aspect of your life, right? And so I want to start with a story because stories is something that really excites me. And in one of the stories, Nelson Mandela, everyone knows him, but he was a South African revolutionary. He was a political leader, also a philanthropist, and he was the first black president of South Africa from 1994 till 99. And he spent, gosh, like 27 years in prison. And when he was finally released from prison, he had a decision to make. And that decision was to either revenge or a reconciliation. And instead of fueling a civil conflict, what he actually did, he chose unity. He chose unity and nation building. And that one decision itself changed the trajectory of South Africa and became one of the defining leadership moments in the 20th of century. And he's known to this day with his great leadership decisions. So I'm really excited to dive in today because decision making definitely has changed the course of my life. And this isn't something that I read in a book, although I did, but it's something I've been studying for the past 15 plus years and continue to study on a daily basis because it's so impactful. Not just the quotes that I'm going to share with you, but really the impact that decision making has on your life. So if you're ready to go, put a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please do put them in the comments. I do hope I see your comments. And oh, here we go. I should be able to actually see your comments live here as well. But let me know if you have any questions or anything in between, and I'll do my best to address them. And decision making is very powerful because decision itself comes from a Latin word called decidere, which actually means to determine. So what do we determine? Well, we determine where we go in life, right? And we determine eventually what we actually desire from our life. And if you don't determine what you want in your life, then someone else will. Someone else will. Realize that decision making is something that a lot of times we don't learn from school, we don't learn from home. And so, if you look at any successful person in any industry, they had to learn that skill of decision making, right? Um, but we make decisions all the time, right? You might think like, what do you mean, Dennis? I make decisions every day. Do you really? Really? And I say this with complete honesty and humility because in a lot of our areas we don't really make decisions because if you really would consider why do you do the things that you do, you're not really making decisions. Someone else has made a lot of decisions for you until to this day is making the decisions. Have you ever considered yourself, why do you eat the things that you eat? who chose on what are the food that you're eating on a daily basis? Did you actually choose it? Some people can say yes if they have completely transformed their diet, but a lot of people cannot do that. And you have to go centuries or generations in decision making to really kind of hone down on who was that person that chose to do this certain behavior habit that is in your family or in your organization now already transformed through you, for example. Have to go generations back to track back who was that one person who made that change. And it's not an easy job to do, right? And so next, what I want to talk about is really that determination, determining what you want. You know, Alexander the Great, I love his leadership and his character. This is a great movie, by the way, by Alexander the Great, a documentary. It's like half documentary, half action movie, and it's available on Netflix. Really highly recommended. Really great insights. One of my favorite documentaries. And Alexander the Great in 334 BC, he crossed into Asia to face the Persian Empire. And in that movie, too, they talk about greatly in this. And his army was really ridiculously outnumbered, ridiculously. And many soldiers was very scared and fearful they would never actually return home. And they were very, very opposed to him. And according to legend, Alexander actually ordered his ships to be destroyed. And as the flames rose behind them, he told his men that we will return in Persian ships or we will die here. That's what he decided. He said, we will either return in Persian ships or we will die here. There's no one or the other. There's one option only. And they conquered, right? And in that moment, retreat was no longer an option for him, because he was the leader, right? And so decision had to be made. And he made a decision that we will move forward. And that is really the essence of that desidera, the Latin word, to cut off any possibility and fully commit to one path forward. You want to ask yourself, what is that one path that you haven't cut off yet? What is that one path that you continually have been kind of avoiding, right? Because a lot of times we're avoiding, and a lot of times it's those small things, they're subtle, but they're actually great in the great picture, right? And so you got to ask yourself those questions, because decisions are so powerful that they literally control every move you make in your life. And if you really want to change something, I don't know what it is for you, but I'm pretty sure you want to change something in your life. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to me here, right? And if you want to change something, probably that's why you're here. You have to make decisions. You can't get around that, but you're going to go after something really valuable that I'm sharing with you here. You're going to gather some really valuable information here, but the information by itself won't make it. Because throughout school too, we gather a lot of information. We gather a lot of knowledge, but if you don't make a decision, what are we going to do with it? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing. So when you go on making decisions, you have to decide what you want. You have to decide what you want. And there's only one simple rule in decision making. Just one. I can make more, but there's one that can really guide you, is decide right where you are with whatever you've got. Because I remember that one of my great favorite movies, Kung Fu Panda. We watch it with family all the time, and the one of the first masters there. Someone can help me out with the name, but he said, "Yesterday." I have to now sit that code, but said yesterday's past basically. Tomorrow is a mystery and today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And now I didn't say word by word. You can help me out if you can, but today is a gift. And that's why it's called the present. And that's what we want to focus on, because you can't change yet what happened yesterday. You can't change what's going to happen tomorrow. The only place you can do anything is right here and right now. That is actually the only place you can make a decision. So if you want any change, I don't know what it is for you. If it's change in your career or in your relationship, the only thing you can do is decide right now. You can't do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is a new day. You can do it tomorrow, but you're not in tomorrow right now. So what is it that you can decide right now that will make your life decision? So you see, every day when you wake up, you have this series of decisions that you can make that will decide the destiny. Destiny is determined by decisions you make, not anything else. It's not written in books. You write the book. You write the book. And every new day is in every new opportunity to write a new chapter in your life or in your business or in your work life, in your relationships, in your health. And you're the person who decides. You can't go on looking at your neighbor. You can't go on blaming your parents or your siblings or your boss or your partner, wife, husband. No, you determine your future. Today, you determine that, right? And then we're going to really deep dive into decision making today. And I hope we have enough time to cover that. We should have. One of the key things is these doors here, right? We have a lot of choices in life, and if you really want something, you have to make a decision, right? And there's abundance of opportunities out there. Abundance. And if you're really not able to choose the right door for you, guess what? The doors is going to stay closed for you. But the door is always open for you to open it, right? And even if I would even open the door for you, you're the one who has to walk through it. So you're the one who needs to decide that you're going to walk through that door into that journey. Even if there is an opportunity that someone else kind of presents itself to you, you're the one who needs to decide. A lot of times, I think environment is very important too, in order for you to be able to continually, ongoingly make decisions, because you're in a prosperous environment that supports effective decision making. We have a community, by the way, where we continually dive into deeper studies of decision making, of building your own image, of how do you actually see yourself as a leader, and really diving deep into the leadership characteristics you want to develop in yourself. So really deep self-mastery at multiple different levels in the community as well. So if you're not in there yet, please do click the link in the comments that will appear after the live, because I'm going to put it later in. But you'll be able to join our community as well. But it's it's a very, very powerful space to be when you have a circle of people who actually believe that you can succeed, who actually really want you to succeed. But if you don't have that, you're in the opposite environment of people who don't even care if you succeed, right? So make sure you surround yourself with people who actually really want you to win, right? And you got to choose the right door. You know, Michael Jordan, one of the best basketball players, of course, of all time, but after being cut from his high school basketball team, Jordan made a decision that he would outwork everyone around him, everyone. And coaches later on described him as obsessive about training and about improvement. And that decision alone came before the championships, came before the fame, and came before that legacy that he built. Obsession. He made a decision, I'm going to be the best. Best of the best. And he did. But that decision, again, was made in advance. And so that decision has to be made internally. Because you see, the outside world is always a reflection of what's going on internally. And the current reality is a reflection, a lot of times, of the past decisions you made. And that doesn't mean you should beat yourself down because of it, but what it does mean is a reflection of the past decisions you made, and you can change them at any time. You can take responsibility. You shouldn't be harsh on yourself, and sometimes you need to be hard on yourself in order for you to make those changes. And there's a difference. Harsh is being cruel and negative towards yourself, but being hard means disciplining yourself to making a decision and then following it. That's what a discipline is. Discipline is giving yourself a command and then following it. Because anyone can just say, yeah, I can do that. But do you really? Do you really? There's a difference between saying I want it and doing it consistent over a longer period of time. That's decision. And that can really change the trajectory of not only your life, the life of even a whole nation like Nelson Mandela here. Right? So it takes guts. Right? And you know, that decision making is what happens is after making a committed decision. This is my favorite part because most people don't make a committed decision. They get excited, they get motivated, even maybe inspired, but there isn't commitment behind it. And after making a committed decision, all the people, all the resources you need will come to you when you need it. Right? You know, Elon Musk, when he decided to build reusable rockets with the SpaceX, many of the experts in the field thought it was unrealistic. It was insane. He was just not reasonable. But once the mission became clear, he started attracting elite engineers, investors, and government contracts that gradually aligned around that vision. And the resources followed the committed decision. Do you know that he actually, let me just make sure I have enough battery. Do you know that he actually blew up the rockets like 2 times, and the third time he almost was about to close the company down? Because sometimes you need to go through the persistence test, right? So let me make sure my battery is still good. Yeah, my battery is good. So sometimes you need to go through persistence test. Everyone goes through the persistence test. And if you're not making a committed decision, you can't do it. And there was this famous speech from Albert Ian Gray called "The Common Denominator of Success." And he said in a speech that any resolution or decision you make is simply a promise to yourself that isn't worth a dinker's damn until you have formed the habit of making it and keeping it. And you won't form the habit of making it and keeping it unless right at the start you link it with a definite purpose that can be accomplished by keeping it. In other words, any resolution or decision you make today has to be made again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next, and so on. And it not only has to be made each day, but it has to be kept each day. For if you miss one day in making it or keeping it, you've got to go back and begin all over again. But if you continue the process of making it each day, you will finally wake up some morning a different person in a different world, and you will wonder what has happened to you and the world you used to live in. And here's what happened. Your resolution or decision has become a habit. That is so good. I love this part. I've read this article for many years, and this speech, it was written into an article by Bob Proctor, but it's so powerful if you really digest it. So making a decision is something that you really need to learn how to do. Next, when a decision is made in advance and followed with discipline, will lead to the desired result. This is an important part here. We talked about this discipline. Discipline is giving yourself a command and then following it. Following through with action, right? Following through with action. Anyone can say, I'm going to do it, and tomorrow not do it, right? You know, in 1974, Muhammad Ali, before the Rumble in the Jungle, almost nobody believed Ali could defeat the younger, stronger heavyweight champion, George Foreman. But Ali had already made a decision in advance, way before the fight began. For weeks, Ali had trained in brutal African heat while constantly repeating to himself that he said, I'm the greatest, right? And people thought he was arrogant, and Ali was simply conditioning his own mind to become the greatest champion, right? And he had decided in his mind in advance who he was going to be, right? And then came the fight. And what happened was Ali absorbed the punishment for round after round using the now famous rope to dope strategy. And most fighters would actually panic. And Ali stayed very disciplined throughout the rounds, 8 rounds, right? Because he had a plan he had already committed to. In the 8th round, Foreman collapsed from exhaustion, right? And Ali didn't win because of motivation in that moment. He won because of the decision he made in advance and followed through with discipline long before anyone else knew about it, right? So discipline has to be combined with it. You know, I love talking about high performers because they have different mentality of how they actually operate, how they behave, how they make decisions. And high achievers, high performers make decisions promptly. They make it very quickly, and they change them very rarely, if and when they change them at all. Napoleon Hill said that he was researching 500 and one of the most successful people in the industry at his time. And he said high achievers make decisions quickly and change them very rarely. Failures, on the other hand, make decisions very slowly and change them very often. And there was Rosa Parks in 1955 boarded a segregated bus in Montgomery, Alabama, and when ordered to give up her seat, what happened was he refused. He refused. She refused. And what made the moment so powerful was not the emotion or impulse, but Parks later explained she was not physically tired. She was tired of surrendering. Can you imagine that? Tired of surrendering. And that single calm decision triggered what they call the Montgomery bus boycott and became one of the defining moments in civil rights movement. Really powerful. So a lot of times, single decision you make can change the course of history for a lot of people, not just yourself, but also family, right? And now we will dive very, very deep. So I'll go actually a bit bigger screen to make sure you fully receive what we're about to dive in. So I want you to see what happens here. I want you to let these lines represent levels of vibration. And you will understand in a moment what I mean by that. And I want you to watch and listen carefully. There's infinite number of frequencies. There's no beginning and there's no end, right? It's infinite. These are levels of vibrations, also called as frequencies, right? And if you take a phone, for example, everyone has a phone. Some of you are here on a phone. Everyone has a frequency. My phone has a certain frequency. If I have your number, I can text you instantly. And you can be on the other side of the world and receive that instantly in a few seconds, right? And your phone has a different frequency, right? And all science, all theology, nothing is created and nothing is ever destroyed. All science and all theology confirm that, right? And there's no such thing as death. You can't kill anything in terms of energy. The way to do anything has been always here. And why I say that is because you have to make a decision what you decide to do. If we talk about the phone, the internet, the airplane, the way to do all of those things has always been here. We simply haven't been aware of it, right? And you gotta ask yourself, what has that got to do anything with decisions, right? I want you to let these clouds represent your thoughts. That's the frequency you think on right now. And results you're getting are simply a manifestation of the thinking you've been involved so far and in the past, right? And that thinking really is altering your vibration, the frequency your body is in, right? It's how you act. It determines how you act. It determines what you attract into your life. And if you're not aware of it, you'll go on and going in dead cycles over and over again, same result, same result, same result. And you gotta ask yourself, why would you ever want to think what you don't want if you know that will give you more of that? You see, you can do anything. I want you to really quit thinking that you cannot do anything. You're the highest form of creation on this planet. And you alone can desire and determine what you create in this world. You see, your spiritual DNA is perfect. There's perfection in you. It hasn't been brought to the surface yet, but there's perfection in you. Right? And you are capable of doing so much better. That's why you're here. Spirit is always for expansion and fuller expression. That means you always desire to expand and to grow. That's why you're here. That's why you want to learn more. That's why you want to do more. You want to jump higher, learn more, do more, experience more, love more, have better relationships, better health, whatever it is. You want to grow. That's the natural part of being human. Right? And you're capable of doing so much better than you're doing right now. And what we have to really grasp is that's where I am, but that up there, that yellow star, that's where I'm going. Right? That's where I'm going. That's where I want to go. The problem is called the paradigm. It's the programming. And so who programmed you? It's your environment, your parents or your guardian, your neighbor, maybe your babysitter, your teachers. We're programmed. You're programmed. And the program doesn't let present results change. Present results control us. Right? And so I'm going to go there as soon as I got the money. Or I'm going to go there as soon as, I don't know, the kids get out of school. I'm going to go there as soon as I'm more confident. Or as soon as there's a, I don't know, whatever. Right? And you see, someone who has everything to make it happen, right? It's not, you might see someone who is in an environment where they could grow, but they don't, right? Their environment maybe, they don't really enjoy their job, they want to quit, but they're afraid. They're afraid that they have responsibilities. Oh, I'm married, I can't do that, I have kids, I'm afraid to quit. But they say, I'm going to do that as soon as, I don't know, everything else gets off my plate. And pretty soon, that decision really, they make a decision, but that decision really starts to fade. It starts to fade, right? And pretty soon, sooner or later, it starts to fade. And listen, you get it intellectually, right? But they're down there. And here is your frequency, right? Down there is the frequency. But what they want is up there. It's on a different frequency, right? It's on a different frequency. It's way up there. And if they want that, they got to get onto that frequency. It's a different level, right? But if they want that, they have to change the frequency. So how do you do that? It's so basic, yet it's so misunderstood. But your mind and your thoughts must be on the same frequency, right? Because the goal is going to disappear if you don't, right? So your mind and your thoughts must be on the same frequency as your goal. You can't be on your present results, because the more you give energy to what is, the more it's going to be. It's a vicious cycle, right? So you're going to make a committed decision, not based on your circumstances, not based on your bank account, not based on your relationship, nothing. Doesn't matter if you have got the money. Doesn't matter if you what state you're in, what others gonna say to you. This is your life. This is your business. This is your career. This is your life. And you must let never anyone, even your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, don't let anyone decide for you. It is your life. You have to make a decision. And once you do, everything else will take care of itself. That's it. A committed decision. It has to be a committed one. Right? And that's how you get the goal. It's the committed decision. You have to think and act like the person you want to become. Not just think, there's an acting part too. That's why I say it needs to be combined with the action. Right? Combined with the action. So the thoughts that you think on a daily basis need to be on the same frequency. Same frequency. Right? And want is the only prerequisite for making a decision. You have to be really wanting it. If you don't want it, you won't make a decision. Right? So make a decision, because it will change how you actually succeed or don't. This is why successful people make decisions fast. Napoleon Hill wrote the 72-hour window. After you get emotionally involved, after you receive the idea, the 72-hour window, that increases the chance of you actually succeeding. So if you have an idea that came to you in this session, make a committed decision. And take, even if it's small incremental action, take that small action today. Not tomorrow. Today. ASAP. Right? That's it. And once you do that, everything changes for you. Everything. Right? So I want to thank you for being here. This is an absolute favorite topic. If you're ready to dive deeper, I will put a link in the comments. We have free sessions for diagnosing of where you are, what's actually holding you back of making that big goal happen, and making sure this is really the worthy goal of being, because most people go after the goals that they think they want, which is really not the true essence. So make sure you're going after the goal that you want, and let's see you next week on Wednesday on the next session of Stand Up Leadership. I appreciate you all for being here, and have a blessed Wednesday. Take care.